Hello guys, welcome to the second part of our discussion about lesson 5, which is working with HTML forms. So as you can recall, we actually ended up discussing the file upload box. Now, before we proceed and go ahead to talk about a file upload box once more, I would like to have a quick recap about our last discussion regarding HTML forms with some of its attributes such as action, method, target, and type, and all other form controls such as text input controls, which we actually already did, checkboxes controls, the radio buttons, select box, file select boxes, hidden controls, the clickable buttons, and submit and reset button. So, as I have mentioned, we are going to continue our discussion regarding file upload box. Now, if you wanted to allow a user to upload a file to your website, you will need to use the file upload box, which is also known as a file select box. This is also created using the input element, but the type attribute is set to file attributes, such as name. The name is used to give a name to the control which is sent to the server to be recognized and get the value. The accept attribute specifies the types of file that the server accepts. So for this file upload box, we are going to create an example. If you remember, we created different forms on our previous discussion. Now we are just going to recreate this using our Notepad++, and then later on we will be including the file upload box on our example. So as we go along with our discussion, this is the a couple of codes that I have created. We have, of course, the doc type, HTML, the head, of course, the title, which I named in form control, and then we close both of them, the title and head, and then we start with the body tag. Now, don't forget that this, since we are creating a form or form control rather, we are going to include all of our other tags on our form tag. So here I created a heading 2, which is select movie, just so we can have a simple title for this example. So what I wanted to do is to create like a radio button, um, a radio control selection for our movies. So I'm going to name this, since this is actually a radio button, I'm going to name it as, let's say, movie 1. And then the value is set to J, short for John Wick. No? So, maganda kasi itong pelikula ni John Wick. And then let's just include additional input type of a radio button. And then, of course, since this is again a radio button, we are naming it as movie 1. And then this time, the value is going to become B for, this is going to be B for John Wick 2. Alang naisip. So, we have John Wick 1 and then John Wick 2. Lagay na lang natin J2. So, I change my mind. We name it as value 1, J1, and J2. So, now, the next thing that we're gonna add here is another heading. And another heading 2 for select codes. So, once again, we are just recreating our previous examples in using radio buttons and checkboxes. So this time, what we're going to create is select name, drop down box naman pala. Drop down ang gamitin natin. Drop down, and then our first option is going to be option value, let's say concept, and then set natin siya as our default selected value. So that's our pancit, and then end the option. So the second option is going to be, let's say, burger, and then oops, okay. Let's add additional drop down value. Let's say pasta. So, yan. The same time, no, para sa mga nagugutom. Again, pagkain na naman yung ating example. Alright. Now, that completed our selection values. So, punta na tayo sa pag-upload sa ating pinaka-example, which is to upload file, no? Mag-create na ako ng additional heading here that would say upload your picture. For example, nagpapa-upload tayo kay user ng picture. Now, remember, di ba, whenever you are creating like your profile on Facebook, no? You remember that you are being asked to upload a couple of things such as pictures, documents, sounds, videos. So you can do that. This is how you're gonna do it on your web design, no? Lalagay lang natin input type file since we are looking for a file. So this includes any file that you wanted to ask from the user. And then, ang name nito is file upload. So we're just assigning a name to this input type, and then we can limit it to to accept an image. Okay, let's say an image, and then we don't want any particular extension name. Pwede nyo i-accept JPEG, GIF, and all other types of image. Ilagay lang natin yung asterisk. And then we end it by using the slash, and then the closing greater than symbol. And then we're gonna end our form tag. And then of course, don't forget to close the body tag. And then our HTML tag. So I will be saving this file as form control. Okay, hold on. I will be locating the samples I've been making for our class. The sample activities. I'm going to save it as form control 2. And then of course, we are going to select an HTML file. Hypertext markup language file. So, there. Once we save it, we can open it to our web browser. Let's take a look what's going to be the output. Okay. So, hold on. Where is it? The sample activities. Okay, tingnan na po natin siya. Alright, no? So, ito na yung ating sample output. Andito yung ating video selections. Meron tayong John Wick 1 and John Wick 2. Meron din tayo dito ating drop-down this box, no? And then, of course, the choose file option. So, you will be asked to select a file. Now, if you can see, no, this actually current folder that I have selected, there are a couple of files in here, no? Since sinet natin yung ating action to accept image only, by default, yung image file type yung kanyang hahanapin. But if you're gonna select this one, all files, lahat ng meron dito makikita mo. However, by default, ito na agad siya. Kumbaga, we are helping our users to just select image files so that they know already na okay, so I'm just being asked to select an image one. So, yun po yung ating example. So, for example naman, you wanted to ask the user to upload any kind of file. All you need to do is to simply just remove dun sa ating code. Ito, this one. So, yan. Kaya naman, you simply just replace it with asterisk slash asterisk. No, para mag-take effect yung kahit anong klase ng yan. And then, we're gonna refresh our browser. Okay, so, by doing this, it's already set to all files, no? Para, kung baga gusto niyo magpa-upload ng any kind of document, is pwede. Okay, so that's it for our upload button. And then we now go ahead and proceed with the next, with our next topic. So for our next topic, it's gonna be the button controls. We can actually create a couple of buttons. Meron tayong submit, which is being used to create a button that automatically submits a form. Very, very basic and very obvious. Then, of course, the reset button. For the reset button, this creates a button that automatically resets form controls to their initial values. So, in a way na, for example, meron tayong mga text boxes, selection boxes, drop-down list boxes. Kapag nag-reset tayo, mawawala ng parang selection yung ating browser. And then the next thing that we will be seeing is, of course, any other button that creates a button that is used to trigger a client-side script when user clicks that button. And then we also have the image button, which would create a clickable button, but we can use an image as background of the button. So if you don't really wanted to just use a simple, a regular button one, and you wanted like an icon button, an image button, then we can use this kind of button control. So what we're gonna do is we are going to make an example of this version of different buttons that we have. Now, we will be starting with the submit button. No? So, mag-add lang tayo ng codes doon sa ating file upload button. Now, we go back to our notepad. And then, dito, mag-add na lang tayo. Siguro, I'll create a line break para lang bumaba yung ating mga buttons na gagawin. So, still, we are going to use the input tag. This time, the type is going to become submit. No? So, by default, ito na talaga yung value ng type of submit button. Assignan lang natin siya ng name. We can use the same name para hindi na tayo malito. And then, the value is going to become the same. Submit. So, and then, the next button is going to be reset. Okay, and then we'll be assigning the name as reset as well. And then the value is going to become reset. So, yan, para hindi na maging complicated pa. And then we will be adding more buttons. So, this time we will be creating just a simple button that will trigger an event once a client or the user of your website is going to be to actually click it, and then the value is okay. So you can change the value to any name or to any value you want. Of course, it's gonna appear once you once we run this code to a web browser. So, in using an image button, so syempre dahil picture yung ginagamit natin, kailangan natin ng image to be used. No, mamaya we will be downloading like an image for this one. So, para lang tayong gumagawa, nag-insert ng image, kailangan din natin ng source, meaning kung saan ba natin makikita yung file. Now, since I do not have a downloaded button yet, what I'm gonna do is download one first, no? So, download tayo. For example, lagyan natin dito is home icon. For example, we wanted to create a button wherein if the user clicks it, then it's not just an ordinary, it's not just gonna be an ordinary button that will, that nothing will not happen, but but an image button that is going to trigger something. Okay, now, once more, if we don't want to make ourselves or our lives complicated, just save it on the same folder where you save your HTML file. Now, in this case, I wanted to save it on what do you call this? Like another folder, but inside the same project sample activities folder. So, for example, image button yung pangalan ng ating subfolder, no? So again, I have a subfolder inside the sample activities folder where my HTML file is located. So inside this, dito ko ilalagay yung home button ko. So I'll be saving it as home, and you have to take note what is the type of this image. This one is a PNG type. So you need to know that because once you actually edit you edit your source code, you need to know the exact name of the file and then the file extension. So, yun po ang ating sinunod kanina, home, and then that file name or file extension is .png. Now, since we save it to a subfolder, we need to actually include the name of that subfolder. Now, if we remember it correctly, yun po ay image underscore button, no? So, I will be typing in the subfolder name, image underscore button, and then slash, including the name of your button. So, we are just gonna end our sample codes here, the additional codes for our different kinds of button. We will be saving it, save, Control S, and then we're gonna go back to our to our outcome. Okay, hold on, I'll be opening the browser. Okay, now and refresh the browser. Okay, meron akong hindi na isara dito dun sa una nating button. So as you can see, for example, di ba, as I have mentioned to you before, guys, na yung ating browser will run your codes accordingly kahit may error pa dito. So, as you can see, hindi dapat na ganito yung inaasahan nating output. So, that would mean that we did something wrong on our code. Now, we have to go back. Sa submit pa lang, meron na tayong hindi na gawa dito ng ayos. So, let me take a look. Input. Okay, hold on. Input type. Tama naman yung aking spelling. Input type. Submit. Submit. Okay, ayun. Nakulangan ako ng closing quotation mark and after ng value submit. Then I will save it, including this one. And then we will go back, save it, go back to our browser and refresh. So, ayan, meron tayong submit, reset, okay. As you can see, wala pa namang nangyayari talaga sa mga buttons natin. So, once again, we are just creating the interface. Wala pang natitrigger na event. So, darating din tayo doon. Kasi, when you created a web project design, you must know ano ba yung design ng magiging web page mo. So, in a nutshell, uunahin mo muna yung layout. Pero meron ka ng idea na tumatakbo sa isip mo na, okay, ito yung gusto kong mangyari. Merong mga buttons dito, merong mga text box, merong mga drop-down list box, at may ganitong klaseng buttons. So, in a way, itong reset, nagana na to kasi parang mangyayari lang naman na tries kami to go back to the default value. As you can see, kapag nag-reset ako, nawawala yung mga selected values ko. So, yun, gumagana na talaga. Now, dun tayo sa image button. So, as you can see, when I hover my mouse over here, button talaga siya. Kaya meron siyang hand cursor. So, for now po, what we're going to do is to just create or learn all of the form controls, and then later on, kapag dating na natin din sa iba, magkakaroon na tayo mga different functionalities for this. Now, hopefully, this midterm, ay makover na natin siya once we are actually done with other lessons such as cascading style sheets and bootstrap. So, for now, let's continue our discussion with lesson 5. So, meron na tayong mga button controls. This time, we are going to discuss the hidden form controls. So, hidden form controls are actually used to hide data inside the page, which later can be pushed to the server. And also, this control hides the code and does not appear on the actual page. So, in a way, kung maaalala nyo, para siyang encapsulation. Meron tayong gustong mga bagay, mga details na gustong i-hide sa mga user natin. So, ayaw natin na malaman ng user natin na may ganitong klase tayong codes for security purposes. Then, gagamit tayo ng tinatawag nating hidden form controls. For example, following hidden form is being used to keep current page number. When a user will click the next page, then the value of the hidden control will be sent to the server, and there it will decide which page will be displayed next based on the past current page. So once we understand this, meron kayong mga bagay na gustong i-hide sa mga user nyo, i-add natin siya sa hidden form controls. Now, for example, paano po ba mag-create ng hidden form controls, no? In this case, mag-create tayo ng panibagong what do you call this? Document. HTML document. So, meron tayo ng ating doc type, HTML, then we also have the HTML tag, then ang ating head, then our title. So, sa title, lagyan na lang natin ng hidden form control. Okay. And then, close natin yung title. Next would be closing the head tag. And then, of course, let's open our body tag. Now, we are gonna add our form tag. Inside of it, for example, mag-create tayo ng paragraph tag, and then this is page 10, for example. And then, create tayo ng input. Type natin is set to hidden, and then name, page name, and then the value is set to 10, and then we'll be closing it. So, copy ko lang siya dahil ang gusto kong gawin dito is to create the submit button. So, rename ko lang din yung name niya to submit, and the value to submit as well. Okay, and then another button, just a reset button para lang may makita tayo na additional form tool sa ating web browser. reset, and then value to reset as well. Actually, itong mga value na to, pwede nyo papalitan. So, for example, erase. No? Erase form selection. Pwede nyo yung palitan. Nasa inyo naman. And then, let us save it to as a hypertext again, no? Hypertext. Yan. And then, I will be saving it as form control 3. Okay, and then, there you go. Save na, close lang natin yung form. And then, yung ating body. And then, our HTML tag. Okay, since we are done saving it, let us actually check our sample output. Alright, so meron tayo ditong submit and erase form selection, yung ginawa natin kanina. Now, ma'am, how are we hiding things from our user using the hidden form selection? Now, let us go back to our notepad. Okay, hold on. Now, ito, napansin nyo, this one is not shown on the screen because it's actually hidden. Kaya nga nung sinabi ko kanina that this is supposed to actually hide ang data na makikita ng ating user because it doesn't really show anything on the screen. This is going to be helpful whenever you are trying to hide like important details of your code to the user. Now, if you will take a look on this, kapag tinignan natin yung ating page source, no, lahat ng nilagay ng user dito is makikita. No, paano naman po, ma'am, yung ginawa po namin kanina? Pati po ba ito? Makikita din ng user. Let's take a look on the page source. No, makikita pa rin siya. This is not technically na tawag dito, mag-hide ng code, but just a simple data on your user screen na magtatago ng value na yon. So, for example, kapag nag-create ako ng back button, then hindi ito makikita dun sa screen ko using the hidden. Actually, hindi man ganong ginagamit to, no? So, magkakaroon tayo ng mga additional examples of this. Hiding important details of your HTML forms once we are into the functionalities of our web design. Now, that's actually the end of our lesson 5. Now, let's take a look on the summary of our 5th lesson. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Now, the 5th lesson covers all the fundamentals of HTML forms. To tell you guys, honestly, napakarami pang example dito. As much as you would like to include all of it, medyo hindi nakakayanin kung i-squeeze in sa buong semester. So, I hope you can find time to actually visit W3 schools as well for you to navigate on your own and look for additional examples, additional controls about forms on that webpage. I highly recommend it, guys. Maganda po kasi siya talagang additional resources. Then, also, the examples shown on our lessons helps you better understand the topics discussed in this lesson, which will guide you on useful tips and important notes in web designing using forms. So, I hope you guys have a great understanding about this lesson. As we progress, marami pa tayong i-discuss. That's all for today. Thank you.